Hi everybody here. This is Dan Harley, and I thought I might take it. It is October 11th, 2020, Sunday night, and I thought I might take a little bit break from my regular work and trying to produce some videos and tutorials for my clients to talk a little bit about MeasureO, because a lot of my friends and colleagues have been asking about this, and for obvious reasons, it's a point of contention in my hometown here, Apple Valley. So anyway, let's kind of bear with me here. Anyway, like I say, why am I doing this? Like I said, many of my friends have been asking my opinion on this. I've also frankly not happy with another tax that we're being hitting here. Every time we turn around, it seems like we're being taxed by somebody or something, and here we go. 1 or 2 cents more here, 1 or 2 cents more there, and it's adding up to the point that people are frankly leaving California because of this and many other reasons. Also, I've been very vocal against a lawsuit that Town of Apple Valley has been involved with Liberty Utilities, which is a local water company here. For the beginning, I have not been very receptive with this whole thing, a lot because I've been in the water industry for quite a long time, 20, 30 years here, and I don't see this as being a win-win at all for the town or for the citizens in the town. So also there's really no organized opposition to MeasureO, and a lot of it's because this measure was pushed on the ballot about a week or two before the deadline of it having to be on the ballot. So you can call it strategic or whatever. It is what it is. So there's been really no time or no money to formulate opposition against MeasureO. Whereas there's a lot of money, a lot of time been putting into the support for MeasureO, including you'll see a lot of signs out there. YesOnMeasureO. You will see no sign saying NoOnMeasureO. So that said, too, I want to make sure everybody knows that I'm not being paid or funded by anyone with putting this video together. This is all on my own. So I appreciate you guys respecting that. So also, I discovered some municipal tax loops as I've been doing a little bit of research on different propositions and stuff like that. That kind of sets the laws that MeasureO has to follow. And quite frankly, somebody really has to speak out about this. So there's quite a few people out there that are against this proposition, against this measure, against what Town of Apple Valley is doing, the council, stuff like that, and I just happen to have the resources to do like what you see here. Hopefully that might be enough to at least educate some people, and go from there. Before we get going further here, I want to make sure those who are involved with MeasureO, this is not personal. I have friends, been here, being a hometown boy here. Got many friends around here. Many of them are on council. Scott and Susan Nass have known, there's never been a time I've never known Scott or Larry in Apple Valley. So I hope those involved will respect the fact that this is absolutely not personal. Obviously, I have a different opinion, and I'm going to express that. So I hope you guys will, you folks out there will respect that. So also, I am not anti-police, and this is something that's been very disturbing for me regarding those folks who have been pushing the pro-MeasureO part of this thing here, that if you are not supporting MeasureO, then therefore you are not supporting the police. That's completely not true with me. And we'll talk about that a little bit further here as we go. But I want to emphasize there, I'm not anti-police. John McMahon, Sheriff John McMahon, is a good friend of mine, and he's in fact a hero, a personal hero of mine. So I'm including on that, and we're going to talk about that further as we go through here. So anyway, also before we get further here, this is a little saying, the little proverb out there that has been brought to me. I forgot who told me this, who owns this proverb, but it seems to be true. It's easy to tell a lie. It's much more difficult to explain the truth. And in this video, I am tasked with trying to explain the truth of what's going on MeasureO. Not saying the folks who are supporting MeasureO are outright lying to you, but there's a lot of things that are not being said about MeasureO that really need to be brought out, so people are educated and understand what's really, really going on here. So anyway, I came in this little slogan here about 10-20 minutes ago. Oh, NoOnMeasureO. So it kind of has this little rhyme thing going on here. So I'll take credit for that. But anyway, what we're going to talk about in this video is what MeasureO supporters aren't saying regarding this measure here. Frankly, why it's illegal for them to say they're going to designate funds for specific purposes, and in my opinion, what MeasureO will likely pay for if it's passed, and our future, what could happen in the future of in Apple Valley here if MeasureO does pass. Okay. So anyway, let's get into it here. One thing that most people, well, I don't think we all realize we're in California here that we pay a boatload of taxes. I don't think probably didn't realize we are paying a boatload of taxes more than anybody else in the nation. The California minimum sales tax rate is already the highest in the nation at 7.25%, something that we're paying currently right now. In fact, it's going up everywhere. We're not alone. Obviously, when it comes to sales tax increases, 51 California cities have increased sales taxes since last year, and more expected to do it this year. And naturally, Apple Valley, Barstow just increased their taxes, and Victorville is in doing the same thing. What is interesting, I found out when I'm doing a little bit of research on this, is there's 42 California cities. 42 California cities have a sales tax rate of over 10%. And why it's important to bring this up is these cities at one time were at 7.25% along with us. And so it is, bringing all this stuff up here, it is becoming to the point in California there's no real incentive to be fiscally conservative. And because it's frankly just too easy to pass sales tax increases like we see here with MeasureO. And we'll talk about that further here. Now, I got to commend a friend of mine. We are polar opposites when it comes to politics, but he inadvertently gave me some information which I ran on, and I found out a really a Pandora's box of issues that came up here. There's two propositions that basically set the laws for taxes and laws in California. Prop 62, which is the last of Harlan Jarvis's last proposition he pushed for tax control in California. That was passed back in 1986, if I'm correct. It took years and years and years going through the Supreme Court system, so on and so forth. And finally, a new reinforced with Prop 218, basically sets all the laws for taxes and bonds. It's rather complicated, obviously, because it's a California measure proposition. But basically, most of us probably realize that, for instance, like school bonds and fire bonds require 2/3 vote, majority popular vote. And in fact, Apple Valley District Measure A just passed with a 2/3 vote. What maybe most people don't realize is municipal taxes, town Apple Valley, MeasureO, can pass with a simple majority vote. Okay, that means 50% plus 1, and we have a sales tax increase. But there is stipulation with that too. For example, here one of the stipulations is the funds from such sales taxes cannot be designated for specific needs. Okay, and this is very important to know, and that's reason MeasureO only needs a simple majority to pass. But the sales tax revenue from MeasureO must go to general funds. It can't be spent. It's going to be spent at the discretion of the Tampa Valley Council or staff. And something else here: there's no guaranteed funds for police or park and rec or anything else. It's against the law to do that. Otherwise, to have guaranteed funds for police or park and rec or the liking will require 2/3 votes to pass. Since it's a simple majority pass, then the way Prop 218 has been designates the law for this is the sales tax revenue must go to general funds. So some of you say, well, that's okay. We have elected our fine council people, and they think they're going to do a great job, and we should trust them. Well, okay, that's fine. That's okay. However, we got to consider something here. A few things, actually. First of all, there's been a very, very expensive lawsuit that Tampa has been involved with for many years of litigation. Millions of dollars have already been spent on this lawsuit, and I have recently tried to dig into this into the town's budget here, and I'll be upfront. I found it very difficult to determine how much money is actually being spent on this lawsuit. Hundreds of thousands of dollars at least, maybe even millions of dollars just this year alone, and including, and also there's funds being spent in previous years. So this is becoming a very, very expensive issue that no doubt is affecting the town's budget. So something else that I am positive I've not heard from town council or otherwise is the town is liable for Liberty Utilities legal expenses. This is regardless of who wins the lawsuit. In the fashion that town had sued Liberty to take control over the utility, town will be liable for that. Which is probably shocking to a lot of you folks out there, but facts are facts. One thing that disturbs me about this is I cannot find any funds, any budgetary item or funds designated to cover these expenses. So basically, what's going to happen here? We're going to have some very expensive attorney fees on behalf of town of Apple Valley to fight this lawsuit, plus the attorney fees of Liberty. So basically, we could double the amount of money that's being spent on attorneys to cover this issue here. And I don't see, I think there's money for town's attorneys, but I don't see the money for the attorneys for Liberty. So this is going to be a surprise sometime in the future, a surprise budget item sometime in the future here. Also, aside from that, this is the one big issue is this lawsuit. But also the many other budgetary issues out there has been ongoing for a long time. The golf course management. I love playing golf, by the way. I love a golf course. But the fact is, as far as I can tell, that the golf course has been running in the red. So there's money being thrown at that. Lots of money. Other lawsuits. There is apparently a few $1 million in lawsuits that the town of Hawaii is liable to, budgeted for. And many other things out there that amount to thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars. I don't know. It really comes down to is if these things aren't somehow better managed, if we don't crawl up these expenses, we're going to be seeing another MeasureO sometime in the future. If these things come unchecked, if we can't become fiscally responsible for what's going on. Frankly, personally, I would have loved to see this measure. Let me go back to this thing about me being pro-police. I would love to see a measure that would designate funds specifically for police or for park and rec or something else. And I'm confident that there would be support for that, the 2/3 support, because this, again, going to Prop 218, to do such a measure would require a two-thirds vote, because this is designated funds. I believe there's going to be support for there to do that. And this goes because the support comes from the pretense that Apple Valley Fire District just recently passed Measure A with a 2/3 vote. So I firmly believe that there is support there to do that. Now, if at the least the town of Apple Valley should, if they're going to ask for this measure to increase sales taxes, they should have also designated an independent budget committee to oversee the expenses here. Because I mentioned in the previous slides here, there's a money problem here, a money spending problem here that we're going to get that really need to corral up on here. See, Barstow just had a sales tax measure increase. They have a designated independent budget committee. Victorville just designated a independent budget committee for this. I was surprised that Town of Apple Valley did not do the same thing. In fact, it is disappointing to me that it was not done. It goes to question the credibility of those who support MeasureO. It seems like the people who support MeasureO just don't care about balancing your checkbook, about making sure we're fiscally responsible. Just basically give the town a blank check and knock yourselves out. I'm not comfortable with that, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people are think the same way. I want to take a step back here too. Perhaps this should have been closer to the first of the slides I did here. Everybody, frankly, aside from this sales tax thing, everybody's just frankly just tired of more taxes. Every time we already have the nation's highest sales tax, we have the nation's highest gas tax. Every time we turn around, Sacramento is constantly imposing more and more and more taxes. Now, I understand that the town needs money to run, but I don't think the town understands the impact that's already happening on their citizens and especially the businesses. And frankly, with the COVID-19 thing going on, something else I need to bring up here too. Since February, March, I've been helping as many businesses as I can try to just stay afloat through this whole thing. I personally lost like 5 clients because of COVID-19. They're not coming back. They're not opening. The town has had a notorious reputation with businesses, small businesses in the town. Doing this tax increase right smack in the middle of COVID-19 is disingenuous to those small business owners, and it doesn't help the small business owners at all. It literally hurts them. And I sit there and scratch my head all the time about this, and how and it's not just town. Victorville Superior did the same thing. They seem to be running backwards when it comes to trying to attract new businesses. One thing I said, they need more tax money to more revenue here. Why don't you go after get your business development department to go after these 40 some odd cities who are paying 3 points more than the town here, and tell them to come over here, come to Apple Valley, relocate over here. We're 3 points cheap. We're 3% cheaper right off. So that said, like I say, I did just bad timing, bad everything. Conclusion to this whole thing here is, frankly, MeasureO, contrary to what everybody's, although supporting MeasureO says, MeasureO does not guarantee more funds for police. It does not guarantee more funds for park or rec. It does not guarantee more funds for concerts or anything else. MeasureO will guarantee we're going to pay more taxes. That's the only thing it guarantees, unfortunately. That said here, I'm going to conclude this out here. like as I mentioned to you, I'm doing this on my own with no money in my pocket and all this stuff. This is only outreach I have, so keep that in mind. I'm going to welcome any productive discussion. I would welcome anybody at council people call me up and say, let's talk about this. I'll try to respond as best I can. I do have a day job. I'll do what I can to accommodate. I want to emphasize I'm not being paid for my opinion. This is taking time away from my work and stuff like that. So please respect that. Those of you who generally agree with what I'm talking about or disagree with the MeasureO, please share with others. That those who are against this measure have a budget of 0 to try to fight this, while those who are supporting MeasureO are spending a lot of money. And so I think if at least everybody needs to be educated on both sides of this whole thing, whether you agreed to the MeasureO or not. Everybody should be educated on what's going on and walk into this one with all eyes, wide eyes open here. So that said, I want to thank you folks for watching, listening for the past few minutes here on this. And no matter what the outcome, I hope we all get along and live happy lives in Apple Valley. So that said, I want to thank you folks for watching, listening, and God bless you, and we'll see you later.